Michael Nagy here with Jiggy Jag TV and DiscoveringBands.com. And for everyone watching, share this video on my channel and help support the awesome bands I feature. And today I'm here with Tragic Impulse. How you doing today?
Great. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. And you want to start off and tell everyone a little history about the band and how the band started?
Yeah, I've been kind of playing around with electronic music in the late 90s through the 2000s, early 2000s, and never really took it too seriously, just kind of playing around and just having some fun with it. And then, got to a place where I felt what I was making, maybe I had something there, in the early days, and all the bleeps and bloops were kind of coming together, and I put out a track under a project called Eisengeist, which was the first track I ever had published. That was on Electronic Saviors 2, the compilation that Jim Simonic and Distortion Productions had been putting out. And the second one, I know Jim because Jim lives in Pittsburgh as well too. So we keep running into each other at shows, and this was kind of early on when we just kind of met each other. And I said, hey, I've got a project, and I think maybe it's okay. Could I send you something for Electronic Saviors? And I sent it, and he accepted it. So that was kind of there was no vocals or lyrics or anything. It was just music at that point. And so there was one track under that project. So the project Eisengeist has one track. And then after that, just kind of got a bit more serious about it, which led up to the album Machine Parts in 2015, independently released. Went with the name Tragic Impulse, changed the name, and wanted something more kind of focused on the vocals and the whole production part of it. And 2015, I think the writing was probably ahead of the production value because I was still kind of learning, and you're always learning, I think, when you do this, especially when you're doing it in a home studio or that sort of thing. So, and here we are, just released the latest album, Distant Worlds, which just came out a couple months ago in May, and that's the fourth album. So it's been quite the journey. Yeah,
totally. And you just released a new music video too, right?
Yeah, shot by Jeff Hevern. I think you know Jeff. And it was kind of Jeff's first video, and it was our first video too, official video, other than just kind of concert stuff. And so we were really happy with it. Jeff's such a talented guy, with his photography and videography. So it was great to work with Jeff, and we're going to do that on a second video actually too for Beast Within, which will come out later summer sometime.
Speaking of later summer, you're going to be playing your first New York City show, right?
Yeah, super excited about that. Darkseid's close, being in Jersey, but New York City, we've been there a couple times just to visit her for different things, but never to play a gig. So it presents some logistical challenges, being such a big city, and parking and hauling around gear and all that sort of thing. So, but we couldn't be happier with the folks we're playing with too, with Interface and Red Locust and Rain Within. We know all those folks. Have played gigs with them before and all that too. So, should be an awesome show. Some great DJs in that lineup too.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And now, I know the scene here by Philly is really good because I live pretty close, but how is the Pittsburgh industrial scene like where you're at?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's kind of a small but dedicated scene, I would say. The city isn't huge, and the metro area is kind of big, and it pulls from that as well. But there's been a scene, I'm kind of dating myself, but since the 80s, there's been a strong goth industrial scene in Pittsburgh. So not a big scene, something like Philly's, a bigger scene there, just a bigger city. But I would say there's a dedicated following. You see a lot of the same folks that have been at it for years. We see a lot of people at our shows, and I've just been saying recently, I think we finally got the Pittsburgh vote, right? From the home shows. It takes a lot of live shows to get the Pittsburgh vote, to get people to, come out to shows and buy your merch and your music and all that kind of stuff. So when the new album came out, we got a lot of support from the hometown folks. So we've kind of grown that organically over the last handful of years.
Yeah, I'd say when I saw you at Darkseid, it seemed like a lot of people were into you guys, which was awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that was going to go because we had such an early slot on Sunday. You know, people start to go and everything, but we had a lot of support, had a great crowd. Especially for that time slot. Couldn't have been happier with the crowd. We did really well with merch. People bought stuff, which is, you know, that's what you want. You know, you want to get that music in people's hands and you know, shirts and all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff to lug around. And so it's great to get, you know, people into what you do, you know, enough to spend their hard-earned money on it. So, you know, Darkseid was an awesome experience start to finish.
And besides the New York show, do you have any other shows coming up?
We have Distortion 200. We're on that Distortion label, Jim Simonic's label, Distortion, and that's the 22nd of July. That's in Pittsburgh. And it's with Red Locust, Silverwalks, and some other bands on the label. Lorelei Dreaming is there. 6 bands in total. Going to be an incredible show at a place called Black Forge. So really looking forward to that. August 31st. We've kind of gotten away from doing opening gigs in Pittsburgh, you know, ones that we're headlining and stuff now make more sense for us as we kind of move on a little bit. But, you know, we're kind of saying that, you know, if the band is right, we're interested. And the band was right with Solar Fake coming to town. So my wife, who's half the live show, who plays keys, she absolutely loves that band. I'm a big fan myself. So when we got asked to do that as an opening band to do a Solar Fake show, couldn't say no to that. Huge fans of those guys. So so we have that coming. We had originally planned to tour this year in support of the new album, but I think we're looking more towards next year now. In January, I fell on a patch of ice and shattered my elbow. Wow. Yeah, and so even at Darkseid, I was hurting. I was all on adrenaline on the live show. I'm like, it doesn't feel too bad now. And then I got off stage, and it was like, all the pain kind of set back in. So that really crimped plans that we had to kind of get out there aggressively and do dates. So I've been kind of dealing with that, and that's a long road back because I had pretty extensive damage to my elbow, but things are feeling much better now. So these upcoming shows are going to be no big deal, but it's a lot of gear to move around and set up and all of that before you even get to the show and perform. So I think next year we're going to have a lot more dates on the schedule. Wow, that's quite an injury you had there. Yeah, I don't recommend it. No fun. Just a complete accident. Some black ice on the asphalt, and down I went, and they took me in the ambulance and sent me to Pittsburgh because we live a bit outside of Pittsburgh. Sent me to Pittsburgh and put me back together piece by piece. The ER doctor, when he saw it in the X-ray, said it looked like popcorn. So, yeah, not a fun time. Well, glad you're still able to perform. Yeah, still putting it together. You know, you got to kind of power through it. We weren't going to miss I wasn't going to miss Darkseid for that. I was just a couple months out after it, but sure wasn't going to miss that. You know, if I have to stand there and do the one arm thing, that's what I'll do. But it worked out pretty good. The adrenaline got me through it. So and the crowd always helps too. So. And speaking of Solar Fake, it's awesome you're playing with them because I think this is only the second time they've come to the U.S. I think. Yeah, we saw them actually in Pittsburgh before in support with Static Perfection, I think. And saw that show. And they're just, Sven's just such a great front man. The guy has such an awesome voice, great stage presence. You know, I'm kind of jealous actually of what he, you know, brings to the table. But that band is great. Love everything they do. So it's going to be a big treat for us to actually perform on the same stage, same night as them. Definitely. Now, if people want to look you up online, find your music on social media, how do they do that? They can search for Tragic Impulse. We're pretty much Tragic Impulse across the board, tragicimpulse.com. I'm mostly active on Facebook. I'm trying to be more active on Instagram. That's starting to heat up a little bit. Not as much on Twitter. That's probably not the best place to contact, but tragicimpulse.com has all of the links to everything we're doing. So if you're a fan or a promoter or any of that, press kit's there as well too. So it's all available.
Awesome. Well, it was great talking with you and having you. I look forward to what you have coming up in the future. Everybody, look them up.
Thanks a lot.